Okay, so basically locators are three types or many types. So we have covered one by ID, by name, by class name, or by tag name, by link text, by partial link text. Okay, these are the basic. Okay, so these are the basic locators. Any web page when you open, so these are the locator strategy we use. These are called the basic. So in any web page, you can do by ID. There may be you will get attribute called by ID or by name, by class name, by tag name, link text, and partial. These six are the basic. Okay. Apart from that, we can customize. Okay. So we can customize locating strategy. We can customize customize locating strategy strategy. Okay. By CSS and by XPath. Okay. So we can customize. So basically, CSS and XPath is the combination of all of these six. Okay. So we'll see all of this how it works. So just for understanding, these are basic locators. Uh, you can custom like you can create your locator web element like based on the locator, right? So these are the locators. So if any element you want to create using this locators, you can do it. Okay. Now this is by CSS and XPath is the customized way. So it's a combination of maybe one or two or maybe more than two. Okay, it's a combination. So now let's discuss what is CSS select. So locators by CSS selector. Okay. So CSS, what do you mean by CSS? So CSS is cascading style sheet. It, its full form CSS cascading style sheet. It's basically implement on HTML page to give a good look and feel. Okay, the purpose of this CSS. So, but in basically in web page, we are not going to do any design thing, but yeah, based on CSS locator, we can also find our web element. Okay, so CSS, it's a actually language. Okay, it's a language which helps to like HTML for any kind of design, formatting, look, style, everything it works like under CSS. If you want to create any web page, then the maybe the page would be HTML. You will design, but look and feel, style, all those things CSS only supports. Okay. Okay. Now using CSS, okay, using CSS, how you will going to create your web element. So, for example, HTML tag. Okay, we'll cover all those things. If anyone is not aware about HTML tag, what is okay, then ID, then class, then attribute combination. Okay, so as I mentioned, uh, CSS or XPath, it's a combination, you know, between maybe more than one, two, or three. It's just a combination. Okay, so what is what are the syntax? Okay, syntax. Now, for example, I want to create web locator, okay, using CSS selector. Okay, how to do that? So tag and ID, the combination I can use, and the syntax is like tag, okay, and ID. Any ID you have to use this hash symbol for any ID. Okay, so this is your for ID value. Okay, whatever. So tag this symbol and ID. So tag and ID. Now there may be another combination tag and class. Okay, tag and class. How to do that? Again, tag dot value, value of class. So basically, any attribute for ID in CSS selector, we use this symbol, okay, then hash ID. This is for ID attribute. So, and for class, dot class value, value of class. We'll see practically, just I'm writing. So you can note it down also if you want. Okay, now another combination is tag and attribute. So for tag and attribute, again tag. So this is the syntax, okay? We have to remember the syntax. So tag, then bracket start at the rate attribute equal to value bracket close. Okay. So this is another combination tag and attribute. So tag bracket start underscore attribute equal to value, whatever the value is. Okay. Number 4, tag class and attribute. So more than two, it can be possible. So again, we can have tag, okay, then dot value of class, okay, whatever the class attribute value, dot class dot value of the class, then square bracket start attribute equal to value and bracket close. Okay, so this is another combination tag, class, and attribute. Okay, number 4 combination substring. Substring. So for substring, what the syntax is start with, there is one symbol on your keyboard. If you see like the 6, right? This symbol on 6, you can see this symbol. Then comma ends with equal to dollar symbol. then comma, contains equal to this one. Okay, comma, tag attribute in the symbol and equal to. Okay, so again you have to close up that. Yeah, that's one. So this is another. Okay, so these can be combination tag and ID, tag and class, tag and attribute. All of this we use under CSS selector. Okay, now comes to XPath. So what is XPath? So basically XPath is for XML path is for XPath. So this is basically XML path. Okay. Now exactly it is a query language to locate nodes in XML document. So what is nodes? I will explain later. Just understand. It is a query language to locate nodes in XML document. Okay. Now point it provides complete address of web element. Okay. So these are the 3 points. So what is XPath? It's stand for like XML path. It is a query language to locate the nodes in XML document. Okay. Now, basically, what is nodes? Let me open Google. Oh, so suppose this is a Google page and this is search bar. Anywhere inspect. So what I click on inspect. Okay. So for example, I want to inspect this image, right? So this you can see this now it's highlighted here, right? This one, just one second. Let me show you this one. Okay. Now it is the image one, right? It is highlighted. So this complete, right? The highlighted this portion is called node. Okay. This is one node. So node nothing. The wherever like you whatever you want to inspect, right? The moment you click on the inspect and hover on the particular, object, and when it shows the highlighted portion, that is only the node of this. Okay, so basically this is node. Okay, now let's come back. So this is only the nodes. Okay, okay. Now how to get the XPath, right? For example, okay, prior to that, let me cover these points. Okay, so there are different ways, like we can write our XPath. Okay, so like XPath is a customized way to write that we know, right? And CSS also. So what are those methods for writing XPath that we'll cover? Okay, so the first one is absolute XPath. One. Second is relative XPath. Number three, single attribute. Number four, multiple attributes. Number five, and number six, or number seven, contains. Number eight, start with. Number nine, text. Number 10, position. Number 11, last. Okay. So these are the methods or way to create your XPath. Okay. Now, when you say absolute XPath, right? When you say absolute XPath, what does it mean? So it starts with single / symbol. Okay, symbol. Okay, this symbol, root of element. Okay, let me show you. So absolute, when you say absolute, okay. So for example, this is right. IMG class, whatever. So if I just simply right click, okay, and go to copy, and if I just click, okay, copy XPath, copy it, do Control F and paste it. So you can see here, it start with, let me show you, start with single /, right? So this is considered as a absolute XPath. Okay. So it's basically how it works. Let me show you that as well. Okay, so it start from the HTML page, like it's basically start symbol. Okay, so if I just go, you can see this is the HTML page start right from here. Then after that, what happened? It's moved to body. So this is my body. Okay. Then it's moved to div. Okay. And under div, we have many divs, right? Div 1, div 2, div 3, div 4, div 5. So now we are at what position? Div 1. So this is my div 1. Okay. And after div 1 also, we have another div. Okay. So this is basically from top to bottom of your locator. So that is what it's called absolute XPath. Means it will always start with the symbol uh, uh, single / and from the HTML uh, like top to bottom. So basically wherever you want to locate from like top to, and it will provide you the exact address. Okay. So and root. So basically this is the root, right? Your root. So it will come from the HTML traverse to the root. So this is called absolute XPath. Okay. Just giving this one here. Understand? Okay. Now what? is the relative XPath. So always relative XPath start with double forward slash, then we'll use tag name, then use tag name, then square bracket start, then at the rate attribute name, whatever the attribute name, equal to under single quote attribute value, attribute value. So this is our relative XPath. Okay, this is called the relative XPath. Now, suppose, for example, I want to click on this Google image. Okay, or suppose let's take example of this search item. So I want to search on this, right? So basically, for how you'll write the XPath now, absolute XPath. So start with forward slash, then tag name. So if I say this, my forward, double forward slash, and what is the tag name? This is my tag name. Okay. So start with this is my tag name. So SVG, right? Again, click on this for inspect. Okay. Now you can see under this also we have lot of information, right? Let me take is very simple. Then we'll see the complex. Okay. Suppose I want to type something. Okay. Suppose I want to type here something. So first I have to inspect the element, right? So if I just hover on this, highlighting to this. So now what is relative XPath? First start double forward slash, then tag name, then attribute name and the value. Now my tag name is input, right? The moment I hover here, it's highlighted this one, input. Now this is my input. Then as per syntax, what I have to do? Square bracket start, then attribute name at the rate attribute name. So you can see this class is also a attribute. Okay. Then name is also attribute. Type is also attribute. These are called attribute. Okay. So these all, whatever you can see in double quote, right? These are the value, and all the left hand side, whatever assigned to this, these are called attributes. So here we have class one attribute. Okay. Then those are very common that I'm just class, then name, then text. Okay. Then come here, you will see title. Okay. And this also value, Arial label. Okay. These also attribute. Now we have to take any attribute name, then value. For example, suppose I am taking this one, right? Let's just double click on this class one, for example, and this and bracket close. So it's not showing, right? Because it shows 0 because the syntax is not correct. So what we missed this. So just put underscore, and the moment you enter, you can see this is unique. So make sure it should be unique. If it's not unique, right? You can see one of two or three, then definitely this will not work. In that case, you have to be more specific to particular, locator. So in that way, suppose this is common, you are seeing one of two or three or whatever. So we can go with a different one. We can go with a search. Suppose this search, right? Obviously, this there would be very rare possibilities that the search value would be for other, right, on this page. So we can go for this. Just copy and paste. So this is called absolute relative XPath. Okay. So we have seen that absolute and relative XPath. Okay. Now single attribute. Okay. How to locate. So the moment you go here, so basically let me write the syntax first. So again, it start with double forward slash, then this anchor tag, HTML tag, okay. Then your bracket start, attribute, name, then you will pass the value. Let me take the value, okay. Then this is what HTML tag, then attribute name, and this is so this is called single attribute. Okay, so what is your HTML tag? This is input your tag, right? So the tag start with input. This is our tag. Okay. Now here we have single only, right? Because as per syntax, this one attribute, you can see here one attribute, and we just pass the value. Okay. So this is our single attribute. Okay. Similarly, we can do check with Q. This name, let's take name instead of this. Okay, so just double click and copy. Now just paste here. Now it is coming, right? So this is called single attribute. Okay. Now what is multiple attribute? So
Makan, just a question.
yeah,
Relative and single both are same, right? Then, because
uh, both are not same. Okay. What is the problem? Why we should not use absolute? Okay. Why? The reason is suppose what happened. Uh, Let me inspect this one. So there are three icons, right?
Mhm.
So what happened? Maybe you have used the absolute XPath. So absolute XPath travel from the top to the root of the element, right? So based on that, maybe you created. So in between from this portion to your target element, there maybe they have in page itself they have implemented one more icon. Okay, in that case, maybe there may be possibilities where your locator will not work because in HTML page itself they have added another some div or some other so that time it will not work. So no,
No, no, I'm not talking about absolute. I'm talking about relative and single. Absolute, I got.
relative and single.
Yeah,
Okay, relative and singular, yes. Yeah, that's
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I know.
similar only.
Sometimes the division, if it's change means the entire path is going to change,
Right,
right? So
right.
I'm talking about second, third. Relative and single,
Yeah.
I'm saying both are
Okay.
similar, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Both are similar only. So basically, relatives start with double forward slash,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be relative can be combination of like it's same only. Just I'm making simple to understand what is single and what is multiple. Okay. So
Okay.
relate these all are relative only. These all what you are seeing from 4 to 11, right? These all consider under relative XPath. Okay. And these singles are part of the relative XPath only. Okay. So there are two way we in XPath we use two strategy. Like one could be absolute XPath, one can be relative. Under relative, these are the sub way like part of relative. Is it clear?
Yeah, if you, tomorrow if you interview if they ask question, what is the difference between relative expert and single attribute means both are
No,
same.
no, no, no. So
Hmm?
people, if the question will come, so people will only ask what is the difference between absolute XPath and relative XPath,
Okay.
because these all are indirectly and directly relative one, because the only the difference is the forward
Absolute and
slash,
relative. Okay.
right? Here it starts. So everything what we are going to cover all start with double forward slash. So obviously the relative XPath tag start like symbol is this only. So in it's a part of this. Okay, don't get confused. So there are two way only in XPath. One is absolute and one is relative XPath. Okay. Now we saw the single one. Now multiple attributes. How to do that? So basically, again, same thing. Just I'm copying this. Okay. So multiple when you say so attribute one value, and let's copy the same and paste it two and two value. Okay. So basically, this is what. Just let me close this notepad. Some issues. Okay. Yeah. So this is what multiple means more than one we can use. Okay. So more than one we can use. This is called multiple. This is only the difference between single and multiple. Okay. That also we'll see now how to do that. Okay. Okay. Now this search one, for example, multiple. So we'll go with this time title. Okay. Let me copy here for the time title, and we'll go with another one. For example, text. Now these are the two. Okay. So what is the syntax? Whatever the tag name, right? So our tag name is input, right? Input is our tag name. Now input. Then what? Then we have to start the bracket, square bracket, start, then at the rate. Now it shows it's saying attribute name, right? Whatever the attribute name. So what is our attribute name? Title and whatever the value is there, right? Just copy this one and bracket close. So we are okay with one, but we will see combination of multiple, more than one. Again, attribute to start bracket and bracket with the value. So again, start bracket, then take complete attribute name and value and close the bracket. Now, why it is not showing? We follow the syntax? No, right? Because this under at the rate syntax, this is called multiple. Okay, this is called multiple. Okay, now what is how to use the and? Again, your HTML tag. So don't get confused. When I say HTML tag, this is my starting tag. Okay, this is a node. Like suppose input. Here could be div, here could be span or some others, right? So starting tag, this is called HTML tag. Then all these are called attributes. Okay. Okay. Now for end, again forward slash HTML tag, then again you will say at the rate, same thing only, attribute name, value, just I'm copying from here. So this is okay, this is what. But here, what is the difference? We'll not close the bracket. We'll use or this or then again just copy paste it. So this may be my 2 and 2. This may be my 1 and 1. So this is a way to use or. Means either my first value should match or second value. If anyone is matching, it's okay. So now in this example only we will change. So what to do? First, your HTML tag, that is forward slash double forward slash input. Then your tags, your bracket square brackets start at the rate. Then attribute. This is my one attribute, right? And this is my second attribute. Now we'll just modify here. We'll just remove both, right? And what we're going to do, we'll use or of it. This is what the syntax. Okay, so let me copy from it. Now,
Showing 0, right?
oh, wait. Suppose I'm taking name. So this is my name. So underscore at the rate. This is what we have, right? Okay. Now we have to use or, right? Okay. Prior to that, we'll take the another one. Suppose title. This is what the title. Okay. Now it's okay because we have covered this one as multiple, right? We have seen. Now, if I want to use or, right? So one second. HTML tag, then it should be the value,
I think
then or
then again it will give.
no. So this is what, okay? So
We need to use that symbol, right? Instead of or double. That what you
which
call
or
pipe,
only, na? This,
pipe.
so I use the uppercase, so be lowercase, okay? Not uppercase. It should be lowercase. So this is the syntax. See, your tag start, double forward slash, then your tag is input, then your bracket start at the rate attribute, whatever the attribute name is name, equal to value, whatever the value. Then or at attribute 2 is my right, equal to value. So if anyone is matching, it's okay. or operator. So I didn't get because it shows like I used uppercase, so that is why I was not getting. Okay, I do now. See, I do not get it. Should be in workers.
Uh, but I have sent you some in the chat, right? Shouldn't we use like this, like the pipe condition?
Yeah, we can use pipe, right?
You are saying about this one.
The one which I have sent you in the chat I have sent.
Uh, Let me see that. So, but or we are not that symbol. What you are saying, maybe that's a correct. Okay, I'm not saying. Okay, let me copy that one as. But when I say or, right, we use that or
Okay.
pipe symbol. Maybe if it works, then okay. I copied okay the value of type x. That may be that also okay. So yeah, that is also fine. But I just shown you or okay.
Okay. No, I
If,
had like I had
yeah.
confusion. So
No, this is
operator.
same only. This symbol or and this pipeline. This also or only. Okay.
Okay.
It's considered like this only. So either you can go with or using or that's fine. Completely okay. Until or unless you are able to get it, that's okay. But I have shown you that using this or okay. And both are same only because that pipe itself it's considering either this or that. Okay. Now let's talk about the contains one. Okay. So for contains again forward slash then your tag start. Okay. This is your tag. Okay. Now after that what you have to do for example let me write in this way tag name. Okay. Whatever the tag name you have then you will say contains. Okay. Contains then bracket start then attribute okay attribute name equal to whatever the attribute name okay then comma under single quote you will pass some partial or complete also fine partial value also fine okay then you close the bracket like this so this is contains okay now we'll see where we'll get contains one okay let's okay for example let's take another Facebook okay for example okay so here this is the Facebook page let's inspect okay and we'll see where we can get it from there. Okay for example this text okay so this tag you can see Facebook helps you connect okay now what is our tag name here can anyone tell what is our tag name
Two.
sorry
H2.
h2 right yeah so if I am to write this one okay so what I have to do forward slash Then what is our tag name? H2, right? H2 is our tag name. Then as per syntax, what I have to do? Use this one, right? Contains. Let's use contains. Then what? Your bracket start and this symbol and your attribute name. Okay. Now, what is what is the attribute available here under this
Class.
class, right? So this is my class. This is my basically class and this one, for example. And what I have to do? I have to close this one. Is it working?
No.
No. Why? What we missed here?
As per the syntax, we need to give comma like
Text is not correct, right?
after the class, right?
Right. Okay. Now, partial value. So, for example, I want to say some Facebook, like face. Will it work?
No.
Why?
The value is for the
So
class
you
is
have to add content,
eight.
right? Contains.
No. Why it is not working? I'm
No,
telling.
the
So,
value of the
basic,
tag is like for the class is different, right?
correct. So, this is the text. So, this is not the value of the class, right? So, we are entering here the completely incorrect. Okay. So, let me just remove this portion. Okay. Till now, our tag name is class. Okay. Then we should use what? Comma. A single quote, we have to pass the value, right? Symbol. So now here, if you see, the partial value is like underscore 8e, right? This is a partial value, right? Or we can do complete also. That's completely okay. But what happens, you can see there is another attribute also present, 8ESO, 8ESN, right? So if I just simply pass like this, maybe here it is working. Maybe there may be a scenario under deep class. You may have another, you know, um, attribute, which, this one, for example, it comes under this. So in that case, this partial will may not work, right? Because under this div, suppose there are two SCSC. So you will see one of two, one of three. So in that case, partial will not work. You have to give a complaint, okay, complaint value, whatever is there. Okay, so it depends on the scenario, but yeah, you can use this is the syntax for contains. So you can first check with the partial. If you are still seeing there are two, three you are getting, then use the complete. But partial mostly works. Okay, it depends. So this is the contain one. So this is the syntax. This is the syntax how to write the contains one. Okay, the attribute name. Then you will just pass the partial or complete value. It's up to you. Okay. Now the next one is start with. Okay. Again, it start with the forward slash this one and you can try all of this. Okay. uh, like all this combination from your end, you can try like whatever web page you see, you can just do the practice. There's no okay. Now start with. So start with another method. Now the HTML tag name, right? Whatever the HTML tag name is there. you will mention, then you will say bracket starts hyphen with. Okay, this is the syntax. Tag name start. So this is very like case sensitive things. Okay, means it's like if you do little bit mistake, we saw in or we use in uppercase, right? We are not getting, so like there should not be any single dot issue with the syntax when you are writing. So make sure to understand, and do the practice. Okay, now for me also it's sometimes it's difficult to remember all the approaches. Okay, okay, now tag name, then your bracket start, then you will say start with, and again you start the bracket, then your attribute name, any attribute. I'm just copying from here, your attribute name. Okay. Now what you are going to do again, you have used comma, then under single comma, you will just pass the value. Okay, attribute value, not partial value, attribute value. Once you pass it, just close all the brackets. Okay, this is the syntax. Okay, now if I want to do this, for suppose, okay, let's just remove this. Okay, so what is our tag name? Our tag name is h2, right? Okay, now h2, okay, or let's see some different one. Okay, login. Okay, now button, right? This is button. So let's take this one. So what is our tag name is button. So double forward slash button. After that, start with. So just I'm copying from here till this much. Okay. Now which button? Any button. Login button, for example. Okay. So now start with what is saying attribute name and the attribute value. Okay. Now here you can see button one login, right? Value is one. And this class. So basically what happens sometimes, let me paste it here. Okay. Sometimes what happens, if you go with the class, there may be you will see like more than one. Okay, any value, like not only class, mostly in real time scenarios when you search with class, a class can have a multiple, tags. Okay, child tags and all. Like suppose this tag can have multiple. Okay, um, you know, nodes. The basically these are the called nodes. Okay, these are all called nodes. So that time maybe it's not work with the class attribute. So you have to try first all of this. So always prefer first go with ID. If you have ID, and it should not be any dynamic value. That also make sure it should be, static. The value should not change every time. If the value is changing, not even for ID, any attribute value is changing, do not consider that, because this might not work. Okay, because every time what happen, if I create this, okay, and if I do, then this time may it will work, second time it will, show different value. So it's a dynamic. So never use any value or from the attribute where you see the dynamic value. It's keep on changing. So don't use. Okay, let's come
In
to
that
the
case,
point.
how do we tackle that? I mean, do we need to use all other, say, for example, right, button value, only class and only ID was there, and both the values are dynamic. Then how do we tackle?
Yeah, so for that, we have XPath axis. This is a different approach. Okay, XPath axis. That will cover later. Okay,
Sure. Okay.
we'll see that. Let's understand, this one, that XPath access and all will cover. Don't worry. Okay. So for this, tag name start with an attribute and the value. Okay. Now, whatever, suppose this is right, data test ID. Okay. Now, any of this will work definitely. So let's take this much. Okay. So what we have to do? Attribute name, take any one. Suppose type is my attribute name. Then what I have to do? Comma, use comma, then the value. So for type is this one, right? Well, submit. So under single quote, you will mention this one. Okay. So this is what start with. Okay. Suppose still it will work. So it depends. Okay. Suppose there may be a case where you have two, three buttons. Okay. And one is submit, one is cancel or some other, and or like cancel. Okay. So what happens? Sometime you don't have a specific attribute, like for example type submit. You don't have. Okay. But you have some different IDs kind of things. Some royal login button. Now royal maybe then it will come cancel button or close button or something like that. So based on that, you can either you can pass the entire text, means entire value, or the partial value. Okay, there are many ways to create the same locator, and every strategy is correct only until or unless you don't stuck with the element. It's okay to go with any approach, but we should know all the approaches. Okay. So this is what the start with we use. It can be partial or it can be complete attribute value. It depends. So use partial, we can use complete also. No issue. Okay. Now the text one. Okay. So basically the text one we use, suppose for example, in real-time scenario I'm telling where we use text. So here you can see this some this note, right? Facebook helps you connect and share with others. So this is completely a text, right? In your page there are many places you will see, like this is image, this is text, right? And also there may be a validation when you open this facebook.com. You should see by default here before you click uh, email address or phone number. So if I hover over again, you can also valid, like based on your requirement you can do this. Okay. Now suppose I want this banner. So basically this banner I want to validate whether it is coming correctly or any spelling mistake or something like this. So using text we can do it. So text is very simple syntax. Okay. So we'll start for like forward slash two times, then use this symbol. Let me maximize. Okay. Then your bracket start, sorry, you'll text, and your bracket start, bracket close, and under single quote, you will just pass the value. Simple. Okay. So this is the approach for text. Okay. So star means even you don't put star, it's still okay. If you put star, it will search on this page. Whatever value you are going to pass it, it will check. Star is means entire web page. Okay, so that's what it is doing. Okay, now without star, we'll first we'll see with star and then we'll see without star. So for text, what is the value? So we don't need any attribute. Okay, in this case, we'll just use what we can go with Like when you use star, then also you don't need any tag name. Okay, just remember, if you don't use any like this one, if when we use this symbol, then we don't even need any tag name. Okay, now if I inspect and this is the value, just copy, double click and copy and pass it. We are getting. If I do little bit mistake, right, it shows not available. Now it shows it's there. So this is with a star. So without star also we'll see. If I remove, for example, this one, now you see we are not able to get it, right? Rest all, if the moment I use this star, it is there, but I remove, it is not there because this symbol is for search. It is searching. Wherever it's matched, it will give you as element. Now, without that symbol also, we can do it. In that case, we have to use just the tag name. So just remember the difference between without using symbol and using symbol for the text method. So in this case, if I use the tag name, then I will be able to locate. This is another way. Without tag name, with the tag name. Okay. Now, the next one is position one. So for position one is again forward slash two times tag name. Then you will say attribute name. Okay. Then equal to. Then you'll pass value under single quote. Then close the bracket. Then again position to whatever the position you have. 1, 2, you will just mention like this. Okay, but we should have that. Let's see if I get. Okay, these are in on the second. Okay, value, okay. So, for example, I want to check this forget password link. Okay, means I just want to validate. Now, here if you see, let me, I'm just closing all the tags, notes and all. Okay. So when I hover on this, it's complete this one, like login, password, all stuff. Okay. Now this is the, okay. Now this is complete form. You can see the form attribute. Okay. Now here, suppose under form attribute, right? Name and LSD. So just assume there are two different elements are there, right? There are two different with the same tag name. Okay. With the same tag name. But for name, value is there. Assume that name is not there. Name attribute is missing. Value also, it may be dynamic. We are not going to use. Okay. So in this case, just assume this type is having this value, for example. And for example, I want second one. Okay, not first one because common, right? This type, just take example, okay? That may be a class or some other, and we have real time. But I'm saying, suppose there are two attribute which is common, and you want to choose the first one. But in Selenium by default, if you are getting any element, okay, locator one of two, still if you are okay with this one, for example, let me create what I'm trying to say. So our what is our tag name input? I'm saying input, right? So here it shows one of six. One entering, it is coming one by one, right? For example, say now two. Okay. Now, for example, input under input only, suppose it is also one, it is also one, right? It is coming like this. 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's assume we need, there is no way to make a more specific to one. Okay, you are getting only 6. Now using from 6, using position 1, how we can tackle this? For example, I want the fourth one. Okay, password. So the fourth one is located for the password. And assume you don't have anything. Okay, no values and all, for example. So what you will do in this case? Come to the second. Okay. Now this input, right? Only the tag name. Now, what is our syntax? Attribute name, value, then we'll say position. Okay. So what is our attribute name? Type is our attribute name, right? Type it. So I'm just copying, typing. Okay. Let me take this much. Okay. Now I'm taking this. So four, right? For example, we have four. Now we want any one of this. So the value. Again, the value is common for all, right? Hidden, 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 hidden. Value is also we have passed it, right? Okay. Now in this case, we have four now. Now we'll use position. Just copy this much. Put one also. Now you can see you are stick to the first one. The moment you do this, if I enter second, then I will be move to this one. If I say third, I will be moving to this. If I say four, I will be moving to this. If I say five, there will be nothing because on we had only four, right? So this is another way to do using position. There are many ways you can explore, but it's all about the real-time example with the which approach. Mostly you will not get that much complicated, but yes, if you get and your values are still like dynamic, it's getting changed and all, and very rare to get all the common attributes, right? Whatever the common attributes we discuss by name, class name, tag, link tag, all these. In that case, we prefer XPath access. That will talk later. Okay. What was that mostly we don't use like 90% we achieve using this only 90%. Very rarely it will come. But I will just give you the overview how that works later. Okay. So the last one is last. What is the use of last? Okay. For example, let me write first syntax. Okay. So again, it will start the tag name. So if I will anyway, I will post this all. But if you want to write, you can write. Okay. Then tag name. Then again your syntax will start like this one. Then your attribute name. Let me copy from here. Attribute name. Then equal to. Then you will pass the value again, right? Under the single quote. Then your bracket close. Again, you will use bracket and you say last. This is again a method. Okay, last. Okay. Now we'll see this example only. Okay. Now instead of I will remove this position. So I should have four, right? There are four. Okay. Now, if suppose there may be two elements or four elements, right? There may be possibilities real time also when you try to do all these things and it is again coming two by default. Okay, so in Selenium, what happened if you are getting two, two, one out of two, for example, by default, like Selenium will only click on the first at a element, okay, the locate web element. So this is by nature of the Selenium. If you have suppose two, for example, let's consider this two out of two, okay, and suppose you want to point it on the first one, right? You want to point it on the first one, but you are not able to make unique. It is again coming second, and you are sure that yeah I'm going with one. Maybe it is coming two. That's fine. And my first one is pointed to my required one. Okay. So in by default, in Selenium, it will click or hit on the first element. It will try to click on the first one. Okay, by default. But your case, for let's assume you want to click on the second one, not the first one. Okay. In that case, if that is the case, right? In that case, you will go with this last one. So here what you have to do, you have to just use this one, okay, and it will point it to the last one. So now we had four, right? We had four. So suppose you want to go with the last one, right? You can go with the last one. I have never tried with the first one. Let's see. First, I don't think there will be. I'm just assuming, okay. But yes. So this is last, okay. But in some other tools we have first, last, every different methods. So in Selenium we have again this is the last, like we can use the using last also you can point to the that. Just 1 minute guys. Okay, so sorry guys. So this is the use of last. Okay, so okay, so you are clear with this one, right? Any confusion?
No.
No, right? It's all about practice, guys. Like I also, sometimes if I don't use one of these approach, I also get stuck because it's all about the practice. You will only remember the moment you do practice. Otherwise, for me also, it's very complex things to remember. So it's all about the practice. If you do more practice, you will just, keep remember all the syntax. Because if when you don't know how to locate the element, then what you will do within automation, right? So this is maybe this is very minor thing, but this is the real time challenge. Most of us, people they fail because they are not good at finding the or customize the locator web elements and all. That's a main issue. Okay, they knows programming, they knows implementation, but they are stuck every time they do rework and all because their scripts are failing all the time because of the the way you write XPath or like locator strategy, that's very important in automation. So maybe it's a very silly thing, but yes, this is the main pillar, you know, for any web automation. You have to be like all this syntax should be on, on your fingertips. Okay, but yes, this you can learn and you can do more practices now. Okay, let me cover one more thing. So we saw the difference between a relative and XPath, right? We have, okay. Now, what is the difference between this? Is it's a even interview question as well. So, what is the difference between find element and find elements? So here only you can see element. It's a singular like one, right? Elements. It's many. So find element means element. I'm talking about find element. Let me write, otherwise we get confused. So find element, always remember these points. Zero matches. Okay. So find element, zero matches, don't exception. Okay. We'll see in Selenium very frequently we get this exception. No such element, element, element exception. If you see this one, that means your XPath is not able to locate or not valid. Okay, there may be many reasons, but this is the no such element exception is something is wrong with the element, not able to interact. Simple on the browser. When it returns one match, so it's basically return web element instance if it's a one match for find element. If more than two matches, then returns only first appearance in DOM. So DOM thing and all we'll discuss later. Okay, what is DOM and all? What is shadow DOM? What is DOM? We'll discuss later. Okay, only the difference is find elements when it's a zero matching, right? Means there is no element or your element is not valid or something like that, then you will see this exception, no such element exception. But if it returns one, then returns it will interact. Basically, it will interact to the web element. If more than two, right? It's only I already mentioned, right? If two plus or two return, it's return only. Okay, ignore my explain. Return only first appearance in the DOM. So in Selenium, what happened when you the moment you say find element, right, and you have more than one, two, right? It will in DOM, it will interact with the first one. It's the nature of Selenium. Okay, so this is the find element. Now, what is find elements? So find elements is if it's match zero matches, for example, no matches, then returns an empty list. Okay, this is a very frequently asked question in interview. Okay, what is the difference? They simple people say find element will return one element and find element will return list of web elements and all. But just I'm just explaining in better way so you remember for a long time. Okay, so find elements by default it will return a list with empty. Okay, if it's a zero also matching. If your element is not matching anything, by default it will return empty list. Okay, if it match one, then what? So we'll again return list of web element. List of one web element because it's only one, right? So only one. If 2 plus matches. Suppose you are not able to make unique, right? Your elements or like assume, okay? Or you because find elements definitely you should have all these elements, right? So it depends on how your like real-time scenario how it works, but you should know the basic. So find elements will return when it's match 0, return empty list. By default, it is going to return empty list. Okay, one match, it will return list of one wave element. If more than one matches, then it will return list of all matching instance. Okay. So just for don't deep dive now, we will understand later when we'll see the real time, scenario. But just understand for the time being, find element means we are going to interact with only one element. Okay, that's what the purpose of the find element. If you want to interact with many elements, okay. So for example, just I'm taking 2 more minutes. For example, you have a drop down, okay, drop down called country. Obviously, in country, we'll have a list of all the countries, right? So you want to point it to drop down for the country, right? So you will find the locator for country drop down, right? Then whatever the value is coming, that you will interact based on your requirement, right? So every suppose there are in this world there are 300 plus countries, right? If you get real time scenario, are you going to write 300 times locator for every? No, right? So you don't want to do hard coded anywhere, right? It should be like any country you can select. So in that case, we'll use a list. Okay. And now Java thing will come to the picture. So for today, this is what uh, we'll see all this stuff tomorrow. Okay, means next